This is Balance of Power on Bloomberg Television and Radio. I'm David Weston. Well, it turns out those historically low interest rates may also help some wealthy individuals pass on some money to their children, some of their estate, in a way that's more tax beneficial than otherwise. We welcome now Mattie Duppler, and she is National Taxpayers Union Senior Fellow. Mattie, always great to have you on taxes. There was a piece on the Bloomberg explaining this, and I didn't understand it, but explain how it works. There's a statutory rate, is there, that you can charge for loans to your kids?
So there's a statutory rate that dictates the estate tax, which is sometimes called the death tax. But then, of course, in statute, there also are rules that prevent parents from gifting, trying to get around that estate tax by gifting money to their kids. So there's a law that dictates you can only give $15,000 to your child every year. That will count accumulated, if you go over that, towards the gift tax, towards the estate tax. If at the end of your life you're looking to pass along your estate, that starts to accrue. So what that is that's a way to try and keep people from getting around the estate tax by using gifting earlier in their life to pass along some of their wealth to their kids.
But under the current situation, as I understand it, the rate of interest you have to charge your kids if you loan them the money rather than just give it to them outright is sometimes below 1%, which allows you to loan money to your children at lower than 1% that they can in turn invest and make some money off of.
Well, this is a reflection on the current interest rate environment, right? I mean, interest rates typically get higher when the economic outlook is more positive. Currently, we're in the opposite situation with this pandemic, which is a deeply unsettling event, which drives interest rates lower. As we've talked many times about bond volatility and what that's doing to interest rates. But the reflection here on what that does for intra-family gifting and the tax implications therein really depends on the tools that families are using. There's plenty of tools out there for estates to try to mitigate their tax effects. But the thing to keep in mind is that in each of these cases, the beneficiary is still going to pay taxes on income inherited when they're trying to exercise that income. So if they're inheriting income in the form of a 401k, an IRA, a trust, that income still gets taxed. I think the question when it comes to estates is people get wrapped around the axle as to who is paying that tax. Someone on one end or the other is going to be paying it. It's just a matter of whether or not it's the gifter or the giftee.
And finally, Mattie, give us just a minute here on possible stimulus for the economy from adjusting taxes. We heard from President Trump again and again and again about the payroll tax. He's come up with it again on this round again. He also mentioned capital gains tax. Are those things that actually could help an economy that goodness knows needs a lot of help?
They certainly could help. I think they would need to be part of a bigger approach to stimulus. Now, there are interesting questions when it comes to the payroll tax in the PPP loan program that you've likely been talking a lot about. Right now, the interaction between payroll taxes for employers for whom those loans are forgiven is somewhat in question. As the law is written right now and as how the IRS has interpreted this, if you get that loan forgiven, you no longer qualify for the payroll tax relief that was already passed into effect by the CARES Act. So I would keep an eye on whether or not that component is clarified. And also there is an ongoing debate as to whether or not the wages themselves that employers are paying with those loans is deductible at all. I would say that if we can get clarity on that from the administration, that could be much more stimulative than simply looking at another payroll tax cut, because that kind of clarity is what businesses need as they're trying to get workers back into their shops and into their restaurants and trying to get the economy back online.
Mattie, thank you so very much. Always great to have you on when it comes to taxes. That's Mattie Duppler of the National Taxpayers Union. And coming up next, now we're